fast, basically. You were saying it at the very end of last game. They sort of allowed VP to control the pace of the early game in particular. This draft, Magnus, Venge, Enchantress, that just can't happen. That just cannot be allowed to happen. You have to be the ones playing on the front foot, playing with the aggressive posture. If they can do that, I didn't see enough from how they played the game to believe they can do that, but we have seen enough from them historically and from the region overall in South America to know that this is in us. And you know what it is. You know what I got to ask you. Which way are you going, VP or Infamous for game number 2?
I go with VP again. Even though the switch up is good, I feel like there's a very high chance for us to kind of feel deja vu as from the last game. There's a high chance that if the lanes don't go good, they will go better than last game. But if they don't go good in this game for Infamous, there's going to be a very similar story that can happen where you have Tusk with 2 supports that don't deal a lot of damage, an offlaner that's very slow, maybe behind, and it could be very hard for you to score kills. That's why you want to try to do better in your lanes. I mean, it doesn't take a pro player to tell you that, right? You want to do well in your lanes always, but they really need it to happen in this game, or they can run into a lack of damage just as they did in the last game.
Let's see exactly how this is all going to pan out. They've smoked up very early on, hoping to try find not necessarily an engagement, but at least the positioning posture so they don't end up losing out on so many bounties again. Doesn't feel like they've been able to find the right space. While they're all posturing here, Kezu, let's talk, fam. Most D-wards by 15 minutes. Who you got here?
I'm going to go with Hakoda.
30 seconds.
Hakoda
find all the wards.
I mean, he's got kinetic field, so yeah, should make it a lot easier for him. You said VP is going to win. Total number of stuns cancels by 25 minutes. I'm going with... there's so many, actually.
I'm going to go with 3+.
Yeah, I think 3+ probably makes sense. There's like Magnus, Venge, Tusk, Lina, all these heroes. And then first Rax Destruction, I'm going 20 to 30 for this one.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that one.
Let's see this contest in the top lane. It looks like they're going to abandon the river bounties so that Michael can go pick up the one next to the outpost. But they actually abandoned the one next to their own outpost as well. But nonetheless, Michael, done the right thing. Got the bounty. Not going to allow this to be an easy 3-1 at the very least. So talk to me about these lanes here, because it does seem like Infamous are setting up for a tri-lane of their own in the top side of the map. Affliction, Michael, and the Shadow Fiend, leaving the Tusk 1v1 versus the Lina. But is this the tri-lane that you want to see coming out from Infamous, or do you think they're going to try and get a first blood and then move Affliction to the bottom?
Very interesting. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to understand what prompted them to do this, because this lane for Magnus is not great. Okay, I would say that the initial laning now for Infamous is good. Yeah, so VP will have to make a swap. I was debating if they wanted to swap the course, as Ramses is taking a lot of pressure from triple raises here.
He's applying some pressure back though with the Blood Rights, and they threw out the Thunder Strike as well onto Affliction. Almost killed the Venge, but the main thing is that they get to protect the Ramses Bloodseeker. If Yamish doesn't make this rotation to come top lane, suddenly Ramses is in a lot more danger than he is. So exactly like you mentioned, they get forced into this movement. But it's now try v try. Who ends up winning out in this situation? And who is it still as bad for Magnus if he's just 1v1 down bottom versus the Undying?
Yeah, like this bottom lane is not amazing. I think especially, so when you play in a draft where, something I was mentioning earlier is where they could have a lack of damage at some point, right? So now when you give the enemy offlaner an easy time, who's already a tanky hero, as up to Michael is
Michael, it's going to be first blood. Yeah, ends up dying. Hakoda gets him with a Thunder Strike. Last tick as well, with a little bit of a right click. That feels awful, Kezu. When you start the game as a tri-lane, you set this one up, but you still end up feeding the first blood. This is not a good look for the side of Infamous.
I wonder if they maybe anticipated VP to start in a different way. So like if they wanted to be ready for what VP had planned, or if this was their initial idea. But either way, this is what, you know, this is their situation now. They're going to have to deal with it. Enge is just not one of the best tri-laning supports. So same with Venge, not, you know, the strongest. At bottom, we have a nice hero back by Mr. Frank, getting a lot of pressure on DM. But most of these lanes, especially with the tri-lane going this way, should be VP favored. I guess mid is maybe like a farm trade or like a wash. But after level 5, I would see Lina will just pull ahead as, again, top lane. There's just going to be more and more pressure coming out in this top lane at all times.
Yeah, it only gets worse as time goes on once we get access to the glimpse as well from Hakoda. as well as more points into the Brambles and a Curse Crown for this Dark Willow of Yamich. So for now, Parker really going to have to try to do his best. And to make matters worse, also falling behind in the CS battle. Bloodseeker outstripping him quite handily right now for Ramses. And that just complicates life at pretty much all stages when you know that you can never really approach this lane. And look at this, the pressure just never stops. They're going to go back onto Hakoda though, throwing in the magic missile with some right clicks. They don't have enough to kill him. Oh, such frustration. They keep getting so close, Kezu, but just can't get across the line.
Yeah, it's just very close for them, but it's just not really enough. I mean, I would say that VP supports right now in this game they're just the better try-laning supports, at least for now. Like, you know, Venge doesn't offer that much. Maybe they should look to play for the SF level 3. I think right now, if you can help Parker to get to this mark, like, you protect him so he doesn't die, but you try to give him solo experience whenever you can. Because I think the only timing you have now is him getting level 3, and it looks like he may not get there without dying at least once more.
Yeah, he's going to end up getting brought down in the top lane, and they're not done just yet. They get a double by also being able to take out Affliction. 2-for-1 special in this top lane. This is a tri lane that VP, they didn't even start the game planning to play, but they're like, well, okay, we'll do it. And Yamich, of course, is going to replace the Sentry Ward to deny Michael any kind of effectiveness in this lane. This Enchantress has literally not been able to exert any pressure atop. The camp's always been blocked. The hits from the Impetus always getting dodged by the Shadow Realm. Just feels like a very rough situation. It makes me question more and more what the situation was with the tri-lane. Like, how did this come to be? But at the same time, down bottom, they are going to jump onto DM. Having tried to swap things around, Parker will combo up with Frank, who gets the last kill with the Shockwave. He might be the one consigned now to go take the punishment in the top lane. But by the time he arrives here, Ramses is going to be so much stronger than him.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they're once again kind of going with, like, I'd like to call it damage control, or making the best out of the situation. Here, actually, double TPing bottom is one of their best plays they have. You cannot go back to this top lane as SF. You saw what happened the last 4 minutes, you already lost. Instead of this way, you get to kind of break up the laning stage a little bit and at least kill this Undying, who's very high level. It's going to give a lot of XP to the SF, a little bit to the Magnus. Now, I like that he's even staying here a little more on Magnus for another play.
Yep. Enable them to kill Hakoda, as the Disruptor will die. That was a TP down bottom as well from him, so by the time he respawns, we'll have to waddle his way down bottom.
Denied.
Then DM will have to play a little bit more safely. I mean, it's decent to be able to get this kill onto the Disruptor, but this is still a lot of time, kids, that this Frank Magnus is spending on this side of the map and pretty much giving away free farm to the Bloodseeker, so now they don't even have to play his supports there. VP can just move them anywhere they want across the map.
Yeah, I think at this point, with what has happened, they feel like that they cannot
Radiant's middle tower
aggress into the Bloodseeker. So they're just trying to, they're like, okay, we're gonna semi-forfeit this lane because we feel like we cannot do much here. And instead, we're gonna double down on these other two lanes to overpower them and give the SF a game. Which I can't really fault him for, as into mid again, we're going on GPK.
GPK, his life is forfeit certainly. Oh no, the LSA connects onto Frank. They still will be able to kill him. Down bottom as well, Parker's in danger. Hakoda got the respawn, came in. As soon as they noticed that these two supports jumping middle, they're like, well, nobody around to keep Parker alive as well. So you kill GPK middle, but Parker, the person you're doing all of these moves for, still ends up losing his life early on.
Yeah, perhaps just, you know, overstepping a little bit. I mean, you are a Shadow Fiend without boots, or he didn't. I think he didn't have them. He just got the full treads, unless I, you know, was seeing things. So he probably just got caught off guard with some decay stacks and the Thunder Strike, and now they're doing some more of the community gameplay where you keep going together, Ramses.
I like that term, community
but not quite. If those connect, that will be a huge kill for them.
Mid lane though, they might try to jump Leo style with Yamich as he was trying to position himself around Leo style here. How has this Tusk been doing this game? Of course, been doing fairly decently in the CS department. Is top of the net worth at the moment. Not too unexpected. A bit unexpected how far ahead he is on this Lina. But where do we go from here build-wise, coming in from Leo style, for him to have maximum impact in this game?
I'm trying to think. It might just be... it depends how pressured he feels. I would assume that he needs to rush a BKB in this game, because otherwise it will be too hard to play into like a static storm and so on. His top lane, Ramses, damn, he just got comboed down.
Frank was patient, man. Frank was waiting like the entire time. just for that opportunity. And finally, Met does manage to catch him out at the end.
I must say, he's doing a very nice job on this Magnus. First of all, he was not in an easy lane, and now the way he has played is, I guess we could call it very like unorthodox, right? Like he's not going from one lane, then TP to the other, mid.
GPK gets RPK'd. He's going to end up dying here. Bloodright will drop down from Ramses, but there's no possible revenge to be found on this side of the map. Has the clear vision onto Frank, but no way he can chase him. That is a very good kill. They get the Rupture out though onto Leo Style. Will they be able to chase him down? Leo Style trying to get the TP off. Come on, cancel it. No.
My prediction.
Our predictions. It's in shambles, fam.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I really love what Frank is doing in this game. Also, I must say that Haste Rune with Rupture looks so hecking funny. The interaction. He ruptured this dude and he just runs away. Takes like 1 million damage. It's top lane. We have so many moves in this game. I kind of like it.
Hakoda, they were trying to catch him out, but Hakoda doesn't manage to actually catch the connection on the glimpse with GPK. So it gets forced away. They're bringing in reinforcements on Radiant side. Like suddenly Frank is here. Frank is just everywhere, and he has access to the skewer. No RP, but after they back off this magic missile, they can try and skewer GPK. No, the glimpse back from Hakoda will allow GPK to get back to safety.
Got it.
And they aren't going to be able to catch anyone else, unfortunately. Yamich now makes his way towards the top lane. But also is Leo Style. In the meantime, Ramses does manage to take down the tier 1 tower down bottom. But Leo Style going in for the wraparound here. There's these heroes in the top lane, 4 of them. They roll in. Yamich goes into the Shadow Realm to stay alive for now. Leo Style caught out a little bit. There's going to be a LSA with the Laguna onto the Venge as she goes down. Leo Style glimpses back into the rest of these heroes. No escape is looking likely here, or is it? So fast right now with these phase boots, but the chase is still on. Hakoda will eat the snowball just to make sure that Leo Style cannot escape this. It takes a while, not an easy one, and oh, Frank, the hero of Infamous, comes clutch yet again, throws in a shockwave to kill Hakoda on the back end. This guy has really been on it, Kizu. If not for him, this game would be in a much more dire state for the side of Infamous.
I mean, this guy has 17 CS, and he's playing near flawless. Like, let that sink in. He's a core with 17 CS at 10 minutes. And you can't, like, he couldn't really have played this game much better. I need to do a little call out on Parker in this play that just happened now. I don't think Leo Style had to die there. If he casts Requiem, I think his Tusk just gets to bail out of this fight by running down south. But, you know, maybe a little bit of a misplay. But so far, what Infamous are showing in this game is a lot better. They're putting up the pressure all the time. GPK has to be babysat by his supports basically at every point in the game, right? All these last minutes, he's either dying, or the reason he's not dying is because his supports are protecting him. So far, Infamous, I mean, they're giving us a very competitive game so far. They're doing great.
This is not like game number 1 at all. That game, by this point in time, it was already pretty clear that VP was going to be in a dominant position for most of the game. This time around, certainly not that clear. So Leo Style, we just saw him now, is building into the Blink Dagger. I like this option. Like the Falcon Blade for a little bit of stats, but I think the idea from him just has to be get forward, man. Get forward. Between himself and Frank, if they can just create as much chaos as possible, Parker can eventually clean it all up. But speaking of Parker, he's getting smoked into right now by 2 heroes. DM and Hakoda are right next to him. They didn't catch the vision for the glimpse, so they can't get the tombstone off. He was thinking about the Requiem. Affliction will eat the glimpse play. It is what it is. Somebody has to get glimpsed. And I think you're fine with that. Get glimpsed back down to bottom. You can still help Frank on that side of the map. And you manage to prevent any kind of gank happening on the SF.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, the fact that SF doesn't die to the gank is good. As Ramses on bottom, he's so fast. I mean, it looked like he was way too fast. Anyhow, in terms of the smoke, so SF gets to dodge it, which is cool. It was a bit of perhaps an iffy smoke anyway. With Undying Disruptor, I think you need to catch a very good angle to be able to kill with these 2 heroes. And now, Parker, even though his laning stage was not good, he has some really good items as Glimpse. Little snowball dodge for now.
For now, he has to go forward. Actually, he's deep into the fight. They terrorize back. The rest of the team will just abandon him. They're like, well, sorry, late. We ain't gonna help you here. And they don't manage to kill his courier at the very end of it. Was carrying a all-important clarity. Like you said, it doesn't end up being a dodge, and this is going to enable them to take the tier 1 tower. Be careful, Frank. They don't have the glimpse yet, but it just came back off cooldown. So they need to watch themselves. Swap back into the Requiem, but the silence from Hakoda going to come out to prevent the SF from doing anything. And Parker also gets glimpsed back into the silence. They will be able to kill him. Suddenly, 2 heroes gone in the blink of an eye as Affliction couldn't save him either.
Radiant's
That
middle
was
tower is
primo
under attack.
disruptor play coming in from Hakoda, and it nets them a massive kill onto the Parker SF.
And that was he was very quick on the fingers there. I don't think he had more than 1 second to react there.
Dire's top tower.
Frank in a bit of trouble here against these supports.
He's dead.
Also
They've got level 2 glimpse into the NSA. Should be enough. Hakoda Disruptor. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of this throughout this tournament here. Kezu's looking very, very clean in these last few minutes.
Well, this is a CIS staple, and when FNG is your coach, you already know that someone is going to have to play it, and I don't think he's too upset about it. He's a pure disruptor, which you don't see every day, but I mean, he's showing kind of why. He's playing very well. Glimpses have been on point, kinetic fields as well, with the rotations, and now Infamous suddenly, you know, we were praising them 2 minutes ago, the game was kind of even, and now we're at a disadvantage with your mid-tier 1 down, so VP definitely, you know, pulling ahead in this game, at least for now.
They're going to try and change the status quo, though, because they're going to try and go for the smoke gank. Guess who they come across? Not only has he been playing clean across the map, he positioned perfectly knowing that a gank was potentially incoming.
Went well.
Manages to break the gank, tank it, and he's like, well, 3 heroes, all for a little old disruptor while GPK gets to farm the jungle. I say hashtag worth. It's all good.
Now these VP supports are on point with their positioning around their cores. Maybe their cores, like, you know, they die once, whatever, but then after that they get out good wards, and they've been very good about breaking smokes, at least in these 2 games already. Like, they know when their cores just need to farm and Infamous are about to make a smoke, their supports go in the perfect spot, as Frank in bottom could be in a little bit of trouble.
Let's see. Disruptor is coming close, just outside of Glimpse range. Doesn't have the 4-star yet.
Work.
Yeah, close. But still, that's a constant worry, right? Pre-BKB, that you always have to be very careful when you don't see the Disruptor on the map. You see one of these heroes that can blow you up, you're like, damn it, am I about to get glimpsed back into death, man?
Got it.
So, like, now for Infamous, it's not the easiest to make plays. Like, they were in a very different situation like a couple minutes ago. Whoever they ran into, they could kill, but now people are starting to get more tanky. They have BKB flying out on GPK as well, and Infamous at this point, they need their blinks, and Frank gets glimpsed.
We just spoke about it. You get glimpsed, LSA. GPK doesn't want to commit the Laguna, but Curse Crown should ensure that he doesn't have to. DM will steal the kill away from him. But this gives them some impetus to put pressure on the tower with the Siege Dragon coming in from behind. Nice timing here, and they get the kill not just on the Magnus, but Frank was just about to pick up the Blink Dagger, Kezu. Him being delayed on that item means that because they still don't have the Blink on Neo Style as well, that's most of their initiation just not available for quite a while now.
Yeah, they, again, are in a position where it's just not easy for them to make moves, and you can tell that VP, they understand this, right? They play aggressive, they go there, they get the kill, now they claim the tier 2, and honestly, they're so far ahead that they can defend the top tier 1 tower, and their next objective should be Roche. I don't think you want to go high ground here into a mag Venge, so just chill, you take the bottom tier 2, you take the outpost, your mid and bot lane are pushed in, and now what they should look to do is take over their top jungle, and then play for Roshan.
Now they do have the Blink Dagger though. Who's the priority target to go for with this? I don't think this is the kind of game where you just buy Blink just to hold on to it. I think you need to do something with it ASAP. But where can they go? I mean, one BKB is already available from GPK. One's about to finish for Ramses. But it looks like the decision is being made for them as VP are smoking into them instead. Affliction will break this one. Parker, stay away. Run away, Parker. Run. They just barely caught vision onto Parker. Yeah, they got him and they glimpsed him. They caught him at the last second. Fortunately for him, he wasn't positioned too close to the Vengeful Spirit, so won't end up dying. But no, he gets Bramble Mazed. They don't want to throw in the Terrorize though. They don't feel like they want to dive past the tower.
Yeah, they were thinking about it already. And to answer the question about the Magnus, I think, again, similarly to the last game, if you reach too deep into VP, I feel like it might be very hard for you to fight. So you want VP to run into you.
Oh no!
VP.
He gets glimpsed back after TPing to try and find a more effective route of initiation. Instead, he initiates against himself for the side of VP and will end up losing his life. Dude, they don't even need Bloodseeker for these fights. He's just been casually pushing out the wave. Here he is, eating on the tower.
In this game, honestly, I forgot. And this is like this is not even Flame. This is more like he hasn't had to do anything. His team is just ramping up, and he's doing the right thing by just farming, right? Like, why help your team if your team doesn't need you? He's literally helping them more by pushing waves and getting fat for when his team eventually needs him. And now that he has Maelstrom, BKB, I think VP can just look to take a free Roach. They have Tombstone. They don't even need the zombie ult, like they can go right now. And then kind of what VP need to do now, after they have Aegis, is just make sure that you don't throw like too hard into a skewer or a revenge swap. Because that is literally the only like way back into the game for Infamous, at least for like the next 5 to 10 minutes.
It's quite scary for me, the fact that this Heaven's Halberd is about to come out for the Undying. And despite that, we still are quite a while away from getting BKB for Parker. So the next fight will have dual BKB on the primary to cause and a Halberd to disable the right-click damage on Parker. And unlike last game here, Kezu, where at the very least it's like, well, we have this Leshrac through the mid lane that can deal magic damage to the rest of the lineup, sans BKBs. If they take away this physical damage output, what do they actually have on the side of Infamous? This is all in the Parker basket here on the SF. He's doing everything for the squad. So if there's 2 BKBs and he's halberded, what's the impact of this hero in the team fight?
Yeah, there's not much that's going to come out from him. And I do think that VP will eventually knock on the door of this high ground. If they're, if they feel really confident, then they can just be like, okay, Lina, you can go hit this tower. If this Magnus jumps in, trust me, I will bramble on top of you, or I will static him so he can't skewer you. And if they're on top of this, I'm pretty sure that they can go high ground by dropping a tomb and executing it exactly in this way. Even if Lina dies once, if his supports are on point and he then gets to pop the BKB, then they're gonna be fine.
4 minutes to go before the Aegis will expire. So time to start knocking on the base, like you said. Put some pressure on the buildings, force some TPs home. Yostal still hasn't made the full retreat, but they do now have the BKB for Infamous. So Parker has some kind of tool to allow him to enter into the midst of these fights. And they'll pick up some free gold, bringing down the tombstone. That's nice. What a legend. DM's such a nice guy. It's like, guys, I can see your game.
A little bit of a donation to like make me feel like, yo, guys, you can run at us. He has 200 gold, now comes Sumo.
As we take the bait, Yostal jumps out. He jumps into a Static Storm though. Hakoda will still end up dying, but okay, Affliction swaps himself into the Static Storm. At the end of the day though, Yamich gets left behind through the Shadow Realm. The rest of his team says, Sazmate, Yostal's too difficult to kill, so we're gonna leave you alone here. Infamous finally gets something here. Parker with a double kill, didn't even need to commit a BKB charge or any ultimates really. It has finally gone well. This Blink Dagger from Leostyle has made a little bit of a difference. Forces VP back, and they smoke up instantly. They still have some ultimates. They want to try and force more on the map right now.
GPK just on the Aegis for now. Skewer back.
Right. Life number 1 is gone. What's life number 2? Hakoda is here. Hakoda doesn't have access to the Static Storm, so let's see how badly they want to retreat. RP will catch on to 2. It's the Bloodseeker and the Lina. They don't have any follow-up on top of this though. And the Laguna will be there until Frank. He'll end up dying. You said they should sound the retreat. They don't do it just yet. Parker going for the Requiem, trying to fear these heroes back, but Ramsey's BKB is right through it. They're looking for Hakoda, who will eventually end up dying as Parker goes in. BKB right-clicking down onto Ramsey. Ramsey eventually dies. Ramich will go for revenge onto both Leostyle and Affliction. And between himself, DPK, and DM, they are able to bring down the heroes. But nonetheless, they still kill Ramses. Unfortunately for them, though, at the end, Kezu, you mentioned earlier that he's not actually the real carry. The real carry is GPK. So as long as GPK survives, VP probably feel okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with some of these trades. It's definitely a good showing that they decide to stick around and they feel comfortable enough to still take the fight, even if, not all of the heroes are there. They have a good turnaround with the SF. They do snatch out Ramses. But yeah, as we said, GPK, he gets to stay alive, and he has BKB into Daedalus. I kind of like his build. I feel like that he understands, okay, if I'm BKB, okay, SF is the only one that can kill me, but if I'm hitting him with a Daedalus, then I'm going to kill him first. So I think his item build right now is very good. Also, he has his team to tank for him, set up for him. There's Glimpse, Undying, so I kind of like what GPK is going for here.
He's queued up the Blink next. I think after this, he might go for the Satanic. And then at that point, it really is the case that you always win the right-click war against the Shadow Fiend. 9k gold lead for the side of VP. They haven't managed to break the base just yet. Losing out on that Aegis means they will have to try again in a little bit after getting the big man down once more. A little bit more protection is required before going up the hill again. Unfortunately, though, that is going to give time towards Infamous to get some key items. The dual BKB for both Frank and Leo Style are being built up. Kind of sucks that they don't have as much space to farm the map since Parker needs so much of it. But eventually, they'll have those BKBs, and the fights do become a lot easier for them to take when they're not worried about the constant static storms coming in from Hakoda.
Yeah, this timing right now for them to be able to, kind of squeeze some gold out of the map where VP probably, they don't feel good enough to get closer to the high ground. VP are going to be okay with farming and perhaps eventually pressing a smoke. So until then, Infamous get to farm. Kind of the next timings, as you touched on, double BKB is good. Frank, I think his BKB is going to take a long time. He's not getting to touch a lot of creeps, so they're going to play mainly for the Tusk BKB and maybe level 2 Venge swap, which can make a big difference against this Lina. And here we already have VP smoking up as GPK has changed his mind, screwing up an EC, cannot fault him for that. As a playbill now against a bunch of minus armor coming out, but it looks like Infamous, they're just going to read this one for now.
They read it well. They were congregating through the mid lane, preventing themselves from all being caught out.
A gift from the
And the positioning of these supports. We were talking earlier about how well VP has been breaking these smokes. I must say, in game number 2, Infamous has leveled up in that regard as well. Affliction always positioned in front of the SF in case any danger is going to break on that direction. And Michael generally has been able to be an advanced guard for Frank. Sometimes Frank still dies, but been doing his best in that regard. Get the tier 1 tower middle as well, so that's always quite nice. Glimpse back though, Parker, will he be forced to BKB? He doesn't commit it. The BKBs now might come a bit too late though. TP's out. Affliction not going to be as lucky. I mean, I think he could have just BKB TP'd out the first time around, not eaten the glimpse and not gotten the Affliction kill, but you only try to hang on to these charges, especially when it's the 8 second going closer and closer down to 6.
Yeah, it's sometimes hard to make that choice like on the spot. Yes, we have another glimpse on Michael.
To Michael, but also we had a jump in from Leo Style, who lost half his HP thanks to the Laguna Blade, but at the same time they get DM onto the high ground with the skewer, and that's going to allow them to kill him with the Tusker. The 1-1 trade so far. Affliction died earlier on in the mid lane. We've now lost the DM Undying. This might give them the chance to try and force a chase somewhere, as GPK is kind of out of mana, not in the best fighting shape at the moment, but they don't want to risk it. They're far behind enough right now that, yes, it's nice that we got that quick kill onto DM, but it's not nice enough that we're going to risk running on the high ground with no vision to try and force a fight.
Yeah, if they have vision there, they can definitely look for a chase, but now that there's, it's still a bit of darkness, maybe he has a buyback with the outpost. The way back for Infamous in this game right now, I mean, we can see that this SF is starting to deal hefty amounts of damage. He has the Venge Aura, high levels, he's getting closer to a Silver Edge. And the next most important thing in this game is this second Roche. If Infamous can claim this one, which, to be fair, it's not that unlikely. Like, if they're around the pit when it spawns, or they have control of this area as they do right now here.
When you set control to make a quick jump onto Hakoda, they don't get the quick enough burst though. Leo Style now in danger of getting glimpsed back, so he has to watch himself. There's going to be the LSA. They swap GPK into the river, so although Leo Style is dying, GPK also losing a lot of his HP. Not enough to kill him just yet though. Affliction not dead just yet on the high ground, will die to the Shadow Realm hit coming in from Yamich. It's going to be a 2-0 as Leo Style and the Venge have died. A bit unfortunate there as GPK, if they were able to get maybe the snowball onto GPK before he gets off the BKB, that could have bought enough time for them to throw out a Walrus Punch. Maybe he dies there. Nonetheless, he doesn't. He's alive, and in 35 seconds, Orochi is back, and VP have control of the area.
Radiant's courier.
Yeah, like right now, Infamous need to hope that... I mean, Infamous should be able to go as 5 once more to try and take this fight, because this second Roche will just decide the game. If VP claim this Aegis, I don't really see a way back for Infamous into this game. And if Infamous get to claim it, it is really their ticket back into this game. Shard plus Aegis. And in the last play that we saw, I think the idea was there. You had a good position, you had a high ground ward, but they weren't quite ready with everyone. The jump from Leo Style, perhaps with the positioning of his team, was a bit too early. But, the idea was correct. This is kind of what you have to do. You take over the area, and if they come too close into your vision, you need to be ready to take the jump. And now, GPK, he's going to start hitting Roche. And I'm afraid that Infamous will not be in time for this one.
This is going by very, very quickly. He has access to the Hyperstone with the Daedalus as well. Full AC actually just got delivered. We need to go literally right now, but it's too late. Aegis taken up. They give the shot towards the Bloodseeker, and that gonna be that. They feel really good about themselves now off the back of this. They're like, thanks, boys. That space. And also now, check this out, kids, where they are on the top side of the map. This is an awkward place to be because it's not that easy to get back into position for the defense. Do you think Parker should try and stick around, maybe force a tier 2 tower while his team holds through the mid and the bottom lane?
Yeah, so right now, this is the type of time where you need to be patient to, I mean, you want VP to show some heroes so that you can feel okay hitting this wave. I think him going for this wave right now with no one showing is very risky, so good job on him for not doing it yet. Now that he sees someone showing mid, he feels a bit more safe. Because I think, yeah, he is okay to linger around because his team's high ground defense is, they're such a high threat, right? Like going high ground randomly against these heroes. So he's probably like, yeah, I don't really need to be in the base yet to defend, so I will linger until I feel bad, perhaps they're smoking, and then he'll TP out. At least that should be the idea. We'll see if he gets to stay alive the whole time and farm here, or if VP decide to smoke, or will they, you know, come crossing at the high ground a bit harder so that he has to come back. But for now, he's definitely doing the right thing.
It's like he's also interested in cutting some of these waves to deny VP the opportunity to play aggressively on all sides of the map, whilst his team is also pushing down bottom. Honestly, I'd love to see this, when one player forces enough reaction that his team is allowed to do a little bit of Dota playing elsewhere on the map. Feels very, very good to see.
It's just like, it's high skill. It shows that they understand their draft right now. Even though you're 16k gold down, you don't need to be 5 people ready in the base. If a play happens and they're like, oh, yo, they're going high ground, he can just TP at any time, and then they can look for a Venge swap into Skewer or however. But now, VP, they're up very far, and they have Aegis. I want to see how they decide to end up going high ground, because right now, they're not getting too much done on the map. They have this gem queued up on Hakoda, who's doing a good job de-warding. So usually you want to pick up the gem to close down the map, especially when it's hard to go high ground, which is the case. But I do think, again, with this Aegis, they can go high ground at some point. They just need to talk about it nicely. Yo, Lina, you can go hit. I'll put my spells under you. They still don't have this BKB on Magnus, so I feel like this is what allows them to still, you know, feel a bit more at ease with at least poking the tier 3 tower of Infamous.
I mean, you mentioned earlier it's going to take Magnus a while to get this BKB, but my goodness, it's taking forever. Frank, what's happening, Tom? You need the item.
I think it's really hard. He should perhaps try to do a little bit of what Parker has been doing, where he sticks around on the side and it's Leostar bottom.
Speaking of BKBs, Leostar is going to need his. Doesn't TP out immediately, so I don't know about this one. Going to go for the TP now, though. It's a full 9-second charge. So happy to make that kind of play, and right in front of him, Michael also able to TP out.
I guess he's toying with them a little bit. I also thought it was kind of funny how he's, you know, throwing out some punches of snowballing. But I guess there's no basher available. Lina didn't TP. Also, Bloodseeker didn't TP. I mean, I guess GPK, he's got to have some mana issues with this build, right? It's not the first time we see him be out of mana. Also, now his team is smoking. He doesn't have Boots of Travel, so he can't connect with them for now, but I guess they just feel too strong. 18k gold lead, and they want to just keep shutting down the map even more.
Dire are scanning.
But Infamous is reading these plays a lot better. It's been a while since we've actually seen these heroes caught out on the side of Infamous with no counterplay available. They will be able to dodge and top yet again. Also, this Lina, she's going for the Satanic now after building the AC Blink Dagger. But what's curious and interesting is that Parker is starting to build into the Eye of Skadi. So if they can somehow keep that Eye of Skadi hidden for long enough, this could be a very, very surprising shock to GPK in the midst of this fight, thinking to himself, hey, I'm going to get back all this HP. Parker will say, no, you're not, fam. No, you're not.
Yeah, I wonder if... I'm trying to think what the correct build is here for Lina, because so if they go on Lina and the SF starts hitting you, I feel like even if you get off the Satanic, if you're lucky enough to get off Satanic while after the RP, I feel like you're still just gonna die to Parker just hitting you down with the Venge Aura and all these right clicks. So this is correct, but now with 30 seconds left on the Aegis, looks like they're finally gonna come knocking on your high ground, and let's see how Infamous will go about this one.
Well, they saw the Infamous squad reclaiming the outpost, so they said, well, maybe this is our chance to put in some damage again.
Radiant's top tower is under
attack. In the top lane. GPK throwing in these right clicks. DM has dropped the tombstone just for some vision and to bother some of these heroes on the high ground. They probably get the tier.
Smoke up and swap.
Radiant's top tower.
Like if you can go for a swap and then RP Skewer, that would be a cool play. I don't know, maybe they don't have any smokes left. at the moment. At least none of their heroes were holding any. But this is definitely, now that Aegis is gone, you cannot go high ground anymore. And eventually, even though VP are so far ahead with 20k gold, there are very many surprising plays in this game that are available for Infamous. If you ever get to just swap a hero in and then RP him on the ground, there's no saving the VP heroes. So you don't have some SD save or Oracle in your lineup as Affliction.
Comes back.
To be caught for now.
Yeah, he gets glimpsed and ruptured at the same time. Should be a very easy kill for them. They're also potentially trying to run down Ramses. Ramses, oh no, went too far forward. Close to the rim of the base, so he gets feared into the RP. They've already gotten the kill onto the Bloodseeker. The question is, will they get more? BKB from Leo Style to dodge the Static Storm. GPK blinks onto the high ground with no agents available. GPK, what's going on? There's going to be a Soul Rip to keep him alive. Will be able to kill the SF, but dies in the process. DM, though, going to try and mop up this fight. Dropping down the Tombstone next to the Tier 3 tower. Muscling away Frank. Can't maintain his position in that area anymore. They have available buybacks on the side of Infamous, but I don't think they'll need to use them because between an Undying and a Dark Willow, these are not tower hitters, so VP will be forced to retreat. That jump, yes, GPK gets the kill, but I don't know if it's worth it here because you gave away so much gold to the Infamous lineup.
Yeah, he had a really big streak, and it actually, how did it go to Parker? I guess the Requiem
Death Requiem, yeah.
Got him killed, so that's big for the SF. To be fair, I was surprised that GPK survived for that long initially anyhow, but I guess he had Paladin Sword, also a huge soul rip from DM that, you know, prolonged that play. But, I mean, you can see that Infamous, their lineup is strong. They're down, but they have so many plays. Aggressive swaps, you have a lot of auras, and this SF is starting to hit really hard. I think they need, what VP need if they want to start winning fights more handily, I think Ramses needs to go for like some Blink Basher build so that he eventually gets to man up on SF, because no matter how this game will turn out, the only one dealing major damage from Infamous will be the Shadow Fiend. So you need to build items, pull him down or stop him from doing so, and at least for now, Ramses picks up the Basher. I would like to see perhaps a Blink Dagger next to like follow up into some plays, because I feel like right now he has to just waddle into the fight, and if he doesn't press his BKB too early, which you don't want to, he might just get Requiemed as in the last fight, and then bam, they snap him out of the fight.
For now, he's going to be having to rely on her quota a lot and say, hey man, forced off me. That's the only mobility I've got in the midst of these fights.
Yeah.
This game, I love how close it's become,
has a
man.
blink.
Yeah. MKB as well for Parker. He's foregoing having access to the buyback. I think after that last fight, he's thinking to himself, I'd rather just be able to kill the Lina heads up if she wants to jump into me than have a situation where I buy back, but by the time I return to the fight, the engagement's already over. Do you like MKB over and above Scotty, though, in the situation, especially considering that it's this heal potential we saw from the Paladin Sword and now coming in from the Satanic that allowed her to dish out so much damage? You prefer the MKB to try and deal with that over Scotty?
I'm not sure. Maybe he feels like that he's not supposed to be killing the Lina until the very last, and he wants the MKB to cut through the evasion of the two halberds from the Bloodseeker and the Undying. Honestly, I'm not fully sure. Or maybe it has to do with, okay, I saw Lina buy AC, he's going to have very high armor, so I want to build an MKB to deal magic damage. I'm not sure. I think Scotty would have maybe been slightly better, but I feel like I must give him the benefit of the doubt because this guy plays a lot of Shadow Fiend, and I don't. So I think Scotty is better, but I'm very likely just wrong. We'll just have to see how it plays out for now. Maybe this guy's a genius. Hopefully he is.
Kezu showing the humility required to be on the mic. What a guy.
Radiant's middle tower is
Sometimes I gotta pretend to be humble, right?
45 seconds basically until the big man is online. And once we have that Aegis available, then of course VP will want to contest for this third one. They managed to get both, but have only walked away with the tier 3 tower as a result of this. You were talking earlier about how difficult it is to push past the infamous high ground. What strategy is there actually? Because you mentioned that you want to see the Bloodseeker buy a blink, go into the high ground and deal with this SF. But are they past the point where they can poke and prod anymore with this Lina?
It's getting really hard for them to later on even go to the high ground. And we may even have to hold that conversation for a bit because I feel like there's a big fight very imminent about to happen here.
Frank, waiting for the angle. He's smoked up, has the blink RP. Is just literally 306 experience shy of having the level 3 RP. but won't be
Roche
able
is
to
up,
reach
and
it.
Infamous will see it.
They see it first, and they take this really, really quickly. Parker is going towards the Roshan pit with Affliction. They've got the
There's an
Wave of
Aghanim.
Terror. They've got this. Yeah.
Tough.
Give me the Walrus kick, baby. This is huge, actually. Yeah.
Radiant's top
This is
barracks
massive,
are under
massive.
I
attack.
think Infamous are gonna win this game. Who cares about this one rack? Literally no one cares. You got an Aegis, you have a Cheese, and your Tusk just got fed like 6,000 net
Radiant's
worth
top
with the
barracks
Axe kick.
has fallen.
Starting to like Infamous chances quite a bit in this game. Like I think now VP were ahead, they still are, but like their amount of plays and how well they need to play, that rate is going up a lot right now as they do catch Leo style.
Dire's middle tower is
Fine
under
Leo
attack.
style. But he has the BKB, does kick away the Bloodseeker so he can't get himself bashed up. TP'd already back into the base so he can't TP to safety, but will buy time for his team to arrive. Look how long the snowball is, and now he blinks back to safety. Will still get caught in by the Blood Drive, but he's bought time so the team is now arriving. He will be the first casualty, but Parker making sure that he won't be the last. RP onto Lina, she's dragged back into the Requiem. They've right-clicked her down. Parker turning his attention towards DM. Will be able to right-click him through the BKB. Ramsey's coming in. Ramsey doesn't have BKB anymore. Ramsey's just gonna die. Yamich in with the Shadow Realm, trying to activate the Terrorize. It's not really gonna matter for any of these players, and they're gonna drag back Yamich as well. Frank is on him. Impetus shot will chase him, and Hakoda, he's just gonna decide, well, you're on your own, buddy. I can't really help you out from this position. And time is being bought by Yamich, but it's only borrowed time. 3 heroes have fallen. Infamous. Get both of the core heroes out of this, Kezu. You were right. Who the hell needs a lane of racks? We've got an Aegis. We've got massive amounts of damage on Parker. But more importantly, you're at the point where your BKBs are now down to 6 seconds. They do not provide the same protection that they used to in the middle of these fights.
Dire's structures are
For sure. Also, like these halberds, they're just taping off right now. Like, sure, we mentioned that SF is the only one that is dealing damage
Dire's middle
to
tower
you, right?
has fallen.
But who cares if you halberd him if you're never gonna kill him or his team? Like, if it takes you more than 10 seconds to kill anyone, he doesn't care about one halberd or two. Then he'll just kill you after 10 seconds. Who cares? If you don't have the damage to support the fact that you stop him from hitting, then you're just delaying, right, the eventual death of your cores anyway. It was a beautiful RP. I like how they're using the spells together right now. Right? In a lot of these fights, we see the RP into Requiem. And as we've mentioned, there's just no counterplay.
Unseen, not unseen.
Whoever gets hit by these spells, they're dead.
I mean, that's the second. Last time we saw that particular combination was them defending the mid lane. It netted them a kill onto Ramses. This time it nets a kill onto GPK. So every single time RP is available with Requiem, which they are right now, suddenly these VP heroes do not feel safe. They're actually going again. Frank is trying to open up the chance, but because they get dewarded by Hakoda, they're like, fine, we'll back off a little bit. But they really want to go in. They want to make sure that these last 2 minutes of the Aegis are used to take a fight, and not just used to secure more farm on the map. Frank.
For the twins.
Dude, I really thought he was actually going to make the jump, but doesn't want to do it without vision. Playing a much more safe game. I think they also recognize that they are in a sort of more commanding position. They've shaved away most of this net worth deficit. They're playing now inside the dire triangle. You're not at the point anymore on the side of Infamous that you need to be the one making the reckless plays on the map.
Yeah. Like right now, this network grab is fake. I would rather be Infamous. We have a jump from both sides.
Ooh, jump on both sides. Requiem will be there. They're actually going to go in with the RP onto GPK, but they haven't killed him just yet. He's going to turn around onto these heroes. They will be able to bring down Frank and the first life of Parker. BKB from Ramses and GPK this time around going to be way too strong. They catch the SF as well. Hakoda will get snowballed into by Leo Star, but it doesn't really matter. What the hell happened in Amhari? They end up losing all their heroes. They couldn't kill GPK during the duration of the RP. And as a result, GPK turns around and kills every last one of them.
GPK got to pop his BKB before he got RP to the Requiem. Didn't connect through to fear him. And then he just got to pop BKB Satanic, stands his ground. Everyone dealing way too much damage. Even Ramsey's coming in clutch with the Rupture, last hitting, and just, hitting heroes with his Basher, locking them down. And now SF has no buyback. This is Megas into... It's going to be pressure on the tier 4s as well, even after that.
Yeah. And they bought out on the SF earlier on to get the IS Skadi, so that's 40 seconds with him in the grave. How on earth can they hold this? Megas beckon for VP. They've taken down the final range racks. Only one melee remaining.
Back into swap.
Radiant's
So let's see what you got. Affliction, no, you can't die. We need you to swap. Oh no.
Next time.
Dead without buyback. Laguna into Michael as well. Here's buyback on the Enchantress. Oh no, Frank can't die either. We'll be able to get the skewer back, but that's a BKB committed. He's under skewer, so he can't blink RP anymore.
Radiant's middle tower.
Oh, under the rupture rather. Let's see if he's gonna try and go for his opportunity. Only one more player remaining. The Glyph will be there just to buy a little bit of time. SF is up. He's trying to get out here. He's TPing into the midst of the fight. There's going to be silence going out onto Frank. They're not going to allow him to do anything. Parker goes in with the BKB, able to bring down 2, but eventually will still die to GPK. And 3 heroes on the side of VP will just buy back into this. They recognize that they've just won the game, and so does Infamous. As the South American squad throw in the towel. GG, well played is called. The second game goes the way of Virtus.Pro. Despite Infamous making this so much closer, unfortunately, it's just not close enough.